All right, hello and welcome back. I am really excited for today's episode. I actually have like 5 episodes right now in front of me that I am going to just like batch record right now. But we're going to start off with the metrics that matter in business because I feel like I really want to cover this, and I feel like there really is not a whole lot of talk about these metrics in the online space. I know of a few people who do talk about this, and I actually want to add a metric that I don't know that they actually cover in their own like free stuff, but I feel like this is really important. So that's what we're going to dive into today. So the first thing that I want to say before we dive into the metrics, because I'm looking down at my notes really fast, is that contrary to popular belief, we are not going to be covering content metrics today. I feel like a lot of business coaches or like people who tout themselves to be online business coaches are always talking about content, and they're always talking about content that converts and content and content and content. And the thing is that content is a part of a business. Content is one part of a business. There's so many other parts to running a business that they're not paying attention to. And I think it's really important that if you are looking to run a business, you are educated on these other areas because they are factors and components that do play into your business. Content is great. Marketing is great. I am never going to discount content and marketing because content and marketing does lead eventually to the sale. But all that content and marketing really does is open up the relationship. All that content and marketing really does is get you to connect with the person on the other side of the camera. And that's why today I want to talk about actual legitimate metrics that matter when it comes to running your business. So the first metric is leads. How many leads are you getting? How many leads are you seeing from different platforms? How many leads are you getting into your business? Your business is essentially a machine. Okay. Now, if I think of where I work currently, because I still have a 9 to 5, we're not necessarily getting a whole lot of leads, like hundreds of thousands of leads at the same time, but we are getting leads from certain searches that are going on in Google. And the reason why that's important is because that's telling me as a part of someone who helps run that business, okay, we're popping up for bales. And if we're popping up for bales and corrugated bales, then that means that we're needed a lot more on this particular part of our business than maybe the reselling of the boxes. And it's really important to consider that because if people are coming to us for bales, then we know we have a market available for us to sell bales to, or who, people want us to take their bales, which is important because that is an aspect of our business. And that also lets me know, and the other owners of the business, I'm not an owner of that particular business, but the owners of that business, it lets them know that that part of the business is really valuable and it's bringing business in. And you want business to come in because if you're bringing business in, then that means you will eventually get paid and your business can keep its doors open. So you want to know how many leads are coming in, where they're coming from, what they're coming for. We're going to talk about one of the episodes that I have to batch here as a niche episode. So we're going to eventually get to the niche episode, whether it's like the next episode that I release or, a couple episodes down the line. I do have a niche episode in these 5 episodes that I'm batching right now. And we're going to talk about your niche and, is it like, should you niche down? Is it worth niching down? Is it good? Is it bad? All the things. We'll cover it. But basically, where I'm going with this particular topic of bringing up the niche in terms of your leads here is, are people coming in because you're talking about content? Are people coming in because you're talking about finances? Are people coming in because you're talking about analytics? Are people coming in, like, where are they coming in from? TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, wherever, podcast. What are they coming in for? Like, what have they been consuming? Is it mostly the content type of content, or so meta? Or is it like financial types of content? Like, what is bringing them to you? Where are they coming from? What are they coming for? And more or less, why are they coming, right? And are they converting? Like, are we getting them to the next step down the line? I'm not saying converting in terms of cash, okay? That's not the next step per se. Are they coming in, right? And are they turning into a lead on my list? Okay, that's what I mean by converting. Are they willing to raise their hand and come into my world? Because a lead more or less is somebody who is raising their hand and saying, hey, I'm interested in what you have to say and what you have to offer eventually. They might not be interested in what you have to offer right now. That's something that us as business owners have to understand. We're not in control of when somebody says, I'm ready to buy. The person on the other side of the camera is the person who decides when they want to purchase and when they're ready to buy. But when somebody downloads your freebie, or when somebody listens to your podcast, or when somebody downloads a quiz or takes your quiz, whatever the case may be, what they're doing is they're raising their hand and they're saying, I'm interested in what you have to say, what you have to offer, and what you're all about. I want to hear more. Because they're giving away their contact information. And like, if I think of myself right now, I just signed up for an email list yesterday, and it was for clothing. And I specifically was like, oh, well, I know that I want to look at this type of clothing and I want the discount, and I'm probably going to come back to this clothing store, like this website, because I want to buy clothes. So yeah, I'll give away my info because I kind of like, I want to come back and I want to look at what I could potentially buy. So your business is the same way. And when somebody comes in and they're like, oh yeah, I want to hear more from her, you know, maybe they've watched a couple of your videos already, and then they're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to download her freebie. Like, they have been watching you probably for a little while and probably for a little bit. And it's important that you understand they want to be a part of your world. Like, they are raising their hand to be a part of your world. And that's when the actual customer journey starts, in my opinion. It doesn't start when they purchase something from you. It does not start when they put money in your pocket. It starts when they raise your hand to be a part of your world. Because if they're raising their hand to be a part of your world, they care about what you have to say. And so it's really important, in my perspective, for you to take care of them. And so we'll get to that in another, probably further episode. But I wanted to bring that up now because it's really important for you to understand how many leads you're bringing in and how many leads you're able to get their contact information for, because that's honestly, truly when somebody is deciding like, hey, I want to be a part of your world. I want to enter your world. So that's the first metric that matters. Your leads. How many are coming in? How many are giving you their contact information? How many are you able to bring into your world? Now, this could go in two ways, and maybe we break this down in another episode another day, but are you getting those leads organically? So you're posting content and they're coming in from the content, or are you getting them through paid ads? So another thing to consider here is the cost per lead. How much do you have to pay in order for you to get that lead? And that's going to play into the second metric that I'm actually going to talk about and bring up right now, which is your earning per lead. Now, there's a couple people who talk about this in the online space, but I want you to actually logically and conceptually think about this for a second. If somebody's coming into your world and on average, they're paying you $200 for whatever product, course, program, coaching that you are offering, right? But you're running ads, and your ads, this is why it kind of plays in with that last piece there. Your ads cost $10 per lead, okay? So for every person that comes into your world, you're making $190, okay? So you net $190 off of what you're paying to get that lead, okay? If for every person in your world that you're bringing in, you're making $190, that's a really good amount of earnings per lead. Basically, your earnings per lead is how much a lead is worth to you, okay? So think about it just like I was saying before. If somebody comes into your world and you know that your average earnings per lead is $200 per lead, if you're paying $10 for an ad, it's worth the $10 because you're making $190 back. This is the spend a little money to make a little money. I don't have a problem necessarily with it. What I have a problem with is when somebody goes out the gate paying for ads without understanding what is going to get for that lead to convert. So I have a friend, and she had a Pinterest account, And she was running ads for a couple months, and she forgot that she was running ads on Pinterest for her t-shirt business. And she eventually was like, I need to cancel this. Like, I don't have the money to be able to keep paying for these ads when nobody's coming in through the ads. And that's really important. And this is the distinction that I wanted to make with that first point there, where what is the lead costing you, which is technically the second point. What's the earning per lead? Like, what is the lead costing you? How much are you making per lead? If the lead is costing you more money than you're making, it's probably not a good idea for you to pay for ads. It would probably be a really good idea for you to come back and to think on your messaging and to think on your offer, because what you're finding is that with every ad that you're paying for, nobody's converting. And if nobody's converting, then how can you possibly make money? It's really important that you consider that, because the whole point of business is to make a profit from solving a problem. Solve problems for profit, right? So it's really important that we consider both what is the cost of the lead and what is the worth, like how much value can I get from this lead? So one thing to consider, again, in terms of like a metric that really matters. And then the last metric that I want to bring up here is your retention rate. Not a lot of people talk about this, and I think it's actually probably one of the most important, if not the most important thing. Actually, there's two really important things in my perspective, and this is one of them. Your client retention rate. And it has everything to do with your client journey. How are you setting yourself up for success in your business? If you know you have an ultimate end goal of, let's say, $1 million, are you providing enough touch points to a lead that's coming into your business for them to stick around long enough? Because client retention is 90% of the sales game. Client retention is 90% of the sales game. No, you cannot tell me different, okay? I work for a company. I might not own it, but I run a majority of the business tasks day to day. And what I notice is that 99% of the business that comes into that particular business on a daily basis is repeat business. 99%. I think maybe I get 1 or 2 calls a week, if that, from people who are new and different businesses and new businesses. Like, there really are not that many new businesses coming for this particular product, but the businesses that they have purchasing from them are so beyond loyal. And when you can create that promise and you can deliver on that promise, you can deliver the results, you can deliver the transformation, then what you're doing is you're giving people a reason to stick around. And then not only are you having them stick around, they want more. They want to go deeper. They want to go further. They want to get closer. And that leads to you building out the client journey. So that retention rate is really important, because if you can retain the client, if you can keep your promise, if you can deliver the result or provide the quality service, however you want to, encapsulate that, then what you're doing is you're giving them a reason to stick around. And not only are you giving them a reason to stick around, you're giving them a reason to tell other people how amazing this is, to talk to other people about the results that you're getting. Word of mouth marketing is probably, if I had to put money on any type of marketing that is going to get you the results that you want, word of mouth marketing is the marketing you want. Because word of mouth marketing is the expression of trust between people. When somebody says to their friend, hey, Fallon's podcast is amazing, it's so valuable, you're going to get so much from it, that person is now going to come listen to my podcast. And that person is now going to come listen to my podcast, binge all 60 plus of my episodes, and they're going to say, oh my God, hey, Carol, so-and-so, whoever, you have to listen to Fallon's podcast. If you're in online business, if you are talking about content, if you want to put content up for your business, if you want to see things change for your finances, you have to go listen to Fallon's podcast. And what that does is that is like COVID. Okay, that is legitimately like COVID-19, but for your business. It spreads fast and wide. But there's one thing to consider here. Now, if you're spreading the message fast and wide, that also means that you have to continue to deliver. You continue to have to deliver a quality experience. You continue to have to deliver a quality transformation, a quality result, a good service. Because if you're not continuing to deliver, guess what? Nobody's going to talk about you anymore. You just lost all trust. Okay? So if I had to put money on any type of marketing that was going to be so superior to anything else, content would come, in all honesty, content comes in last place. Word of mouth marketing comes in first, in my perspective, because it is legitimately the communication of trust between parties. And when somebody can trust you, and when somebody can say, oh yeah, I trust that person, they've already bought in. They might not have bought in with $1, but they have already bought in subconsciously. They've already bought in because of the reputation, like how you have already provided such a great experience. They know that they're going to continue to get a great experience. And they know that eventually down the line, when you can clearly communicate how you're going to solve a problem for them, they will willingly hand over money. Those are my metrics, and I stand by them. And in all honesty, I think all three of them are very important. You have to measure the people who are coming in, what they're worth to you, and the people who are also staying in. I'm not going to say going out, but they continue down the line. They continue down the journey. All right. So if you enjoyed this episode, definitely let me know. Take a screenshot. Tell me what your takeaways were. Share it on Instagram. And if you have any comments, drop them down below. Drop down your comments down below. I don't know. In all honesty, I really don't know if this video is still recording because Tommy called me in the middle of this episode, of course, because why would I ever have a video that I could just actually record the whole thing for? I digress. All right. Well, I want to thank you for tuning in. If you have 30 seconds and you could leave a quick review, I would really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon. Whenever I could find the stop button.